Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the simplest sports fantasy game on the market. You can pick from multiple sports platforms. Get this, sign up using the code ASU and Prize Picks will 100% match your initial offer up to $100. Sign up using the Google Play Store or the App Store. Well, we are finally here. The NFL draft is Thursday, and today we get to find out in a few moments who Terrence Mathis is going to pick in this year's Atlanta Falcons mock draft. But before we get to that, the Atlanta Falcons have already made some more changes since our last taping. Most notably, Casey Hayward was cut from the cornerback room. How do you think, well, first off, how do you feel about that cut, and do you think it'll play an impact on the Falcons draft on Thursday?
I don't think it'll play an impact early into the draft, but somewhere in the draft, I suspect them to get a corner. I had we haven't talked in 2 weeks, but I had an opportunity to sit in front of Rich McKay and Arthur Smith for a period of time, and I know that Rich McKay was elated with the trade with the cornerback from Detroit coming over whatsoever.
Jeff Okuda. Mhm.
Yes, he was excited. He felt that that was a steal. He felt that he had a lot left in him, and he could help. So, but I still didn't see the Casey Hayward thing coming.
Mhm.
But with that kind of uh, you usually wait to June to make that decision, but I guess there was probably some money due in
Mhm.
May, so they had to get it done. But I think, and it was Rich McKay was excited about this upcoming draft, and and while we were sitting there, he kept looking at his watch and looking at his phone,
Mhm.
and he kept saying, we looking to sign, because I kept saying you guys are doing a great job in this offseason in the free agent market.
Mhm.
And he says, well, we're waiting to hear from a big signing. We got an edge rusher that we're looking forward to signing.
And I
And
saw your tweet, so I was curious.
yeah, so it was funny because then after he said that, I watched at the next table, I watched Arthur Smith get up and get on his phone and leave the room.
Mhm.
And I says, well, who could it be? And I couldn't think of who. He says, well, I can't tell you, until it happens. So a few minutes later, I go over to Arthur Smith table, introduce myself, whatsoever, this and that. Uh, I'm a I'm gonna get to it at the end with my final statements about something. But I introduced myself, we talked, and this and that. And here's what I got out of that conversation. This is all about the draft now.
Yeah.
I, Before I said that, I said, "Oh, I hear you guys are looking to sign a big time edge rusher." And he goes, "It's Bud Dupree." Right then and there, I knew right, and I said, "Oh, okay, cool." I said, "That's a great pickup." So we continued to talk, and we continued to talk, and I kept telling him, "Hey, man, you guys are doing a great job
Yeah.
um, in the off season in this free agent market." And so we continued to talk, and I've been very critical about Arthur Smith. I
Mhm.
have been, and you know that, William. I've been very, very critical
Yeah.
about him, and I learned something that night, that he's more knowledgeable and his football IQ is higher than expected.
Mhm.
Now, he said something that we talk about in this on this show a lot. He says we had to go out and get some veteran guys that have won
Mhm.
and that can compete, that's going to make every room competitive
Yes.
and show these young guys what it takes for longevity and to practice and play at a championship caliber. We've
Mhm.
been talking about that for what, 2 years now?
Yes, sir.
So I was like, wow. I said, I've been saying that for 2 years. And then we started to going into the draft. We was talking to the draft. Let's go back to Rich McKay. I said, I don't know who you taking with that eighth pick, but Nolan Smith looks really, really good. And his eyes lit up. And he said to me, he says, by far, he's had the best uh, workout period,
Mhm.
pre-draft workout period than anybody out there. That's what
Okay.
he said to me. And I said, that'll be a great help. All that speed whatsoever. I said, that would be the cherry on top. And then I wanted to run it by Arthur Smith. So I said, at that number 8 pick, I said, I know you guys gonna go defense. I say one more guy, and you'll be fine. And he says to me, he goes, and I said, Nolan Smith looks like he had that speed, that young rusher that you guys need in that type of offense. And he says, yeah, he's good. He's good. He says, but I sure love that Keon White from
Georgia
Georgia
Tech.
Tech.
And that's
And
another guy you've been
yeah,
talking about.
and he said, it's just something about him. He said he has that. And I said, that dog in him? He goes, yes. He goes, yes, he has that in him. And I was like, wow. So with all that said, that's just my pre-draft conversations
Well,
that I had. So we're gonna start right now. The number 8 pick in the 2023 NFL draft for the
drum
Atlanta
roll.
Falcons will be Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith from the
Nolan
University of
Smith.
Georgia.
Now, if now if he is going by that
Mhm.
time, which I don't think he would be, it's going to be Keon White.
Yeah.
So it may come down to this. Seriously, I am very serious about this. It may come down to a coin toss of which one they get at number 8. I know there's been speculations that the Falcons are going to move down picks, and why would you do that?
Hmm.
Why would you do that? We talked about it. The only way you move down if one of the quarterbacks dropped to number 8 and Washington is sitting there and needing a quarterback. That's the only way. You wouldn't drop down. And I seen one where you dropped out and got down to number 13 and traded with Green Bay. Why would Green Bay trade all the way up to 8 to get a wide receiver who's going to be there at 13? That makes no
Yeah.
sense to me. So the second pick in the draft with a DeJuan Jones, offensive tackle for Ohio State.
Okay.
6'8", 374, gave up no sacks. He gave up a few pressures, but no sacks. Here's another young guy in a veteran meeting room that can learn, and he'll be there for a long haul, and he can contribute in the next 2 or 3 years. And then here's one, and everybody might go, oh, no, I can't see that happening, but Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss, wide receiver.
Okay. I had him in one of
He's
mine.
6'2", 220 pounds. Does that not sound like a wide receiver in the Arthur Smith
Yeah.
offense? Let me tell you why. How big is A.J. Brown, who played with the Titans under Arthur
Big
Smith?
fella. Yeah.
Same size,
Hmm.
same thing. So same caliber type, physical type. I'm not saying he's that type of caliber on the field, but that physical type that
Yeah.
Arthur Smith likes and looking for. Now, here's a here's where you go into the cornerback. There's gonna be some cornerbacks go in the first 3 rounds, but I'm hoping DJ Turner drop and we can get him in the 4-2 guy out of Michigan, right up the street, North Gwinnett High School. If not, it's gonna be Darius Rush from South Carolina.
Okay.
4'3", 440, 6'2", 198 pounds, big corner. Now you got a physical corner, then you got a guy that can play man to man on the other side. So you got some young guys there that can step in if needs to play. Uh, they both, all these guys have played in conferences and played quality football. So I think the game won't be too big for these guys that I've mentioned so far.
Yeah.
Now, here's the one people talked about early on, maybe a few weeks ago. He's going to be sitting there for Arthur Smith. Tank Bigsby will be there,
Okay.
running back from Auburn. 6', 210. That's that big running back. He's
Hmm.
and I promise you, he's not 210. He's probably more like 215, 220, and maybe edging over 220 to the 222 range. That's that big physical running back that Arthur Smith likes. We have the guys that can hit it and go, this and that, but here's that big physical running back that if it's 3rd and 4, defense is gonna have to say, okay, do we load the box
Mm-hmm.
or do we play pass? Because you're gonna have a lot of weapons all around. So here's that big running back that you can bring along slowly and that can help you out and give you 10 or 15 plays a game and be very physical in the running game, which Arthur Smith wants to do. And then we get later, in the draft now. It's pretty much best available and need. Um, I like Anthony Bradford, interior offensive lineman for LSU, 6'5", 345.
Okay.
Again, here's a guy that's played a lot of football at LSU and can, I'm not saying he can come in and contribute right away, but he has time to be under a veteran offensive line and see things and learn things and eventually get a chance to play down the road. And then we go to Andre Coburn, D tackle from Texas, big 6'2", 343 guy. I mean, there's your plug in the middle. If we playing one of those running teams that want to try to run it down our throat, there's that plug. That's that stopper right there. He's a big plug for you. So right now, that is my 2020 draft for the Atlanta Falcons.
So I'm excited to see how it pans out and compares to what the Falcons draft, because in the past drafts, since we've been doing these shows, you've been pretty spot on with your picks. I'm not going to be devil's advocate. I'm just going to tell you what I hear out there and to see what you think about some of these ideas. So I went through a couple, I did about 5 mock drafts, and every time just on the mock draft, one of those top 4 QBs were still there at 8.
Right.
Now we're hearing rumors CJ Stroud from Ohio State maybe there at 8. And I heard you said maybe the Falcons should trade back if they're there and there's a quarterback.
Yeah.
What if the Falcons take a quarterback there at 8?
You'd have messed up the whole season. No, seriously. People going, what? What are you talking about? You have started all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is why. Even though if Ritter is your starter, if he starts to struggle like Mariota did, and you started calling for Ritter, now if Ritter struggles and we pick one of those quarterbacks, who you gonna call for then? So now you want to pull Ritter. Now he hearing all this. The coaching staff, the organization is hearing all. It's all in the locker room and the continuity and it just messes up the whole locker room when you do something like that. Because there's going to be a side for the new quarterback and a side for the current quarterback. So you're going to have 2 camps, and you're pretty much going to have 2 teams in the building. So you can't do that right now. You can't.
And I agree, and I hope they wouldn't tomorrow, or the show will be released tomorrow. On Thursday, the day of the draft, they're having a party at Atlantic Station. And the players that are invited, one of them is Desmond Ritter. So he'll be in attendance with all the fans. So I would hate for the Falcons to draft a quarterback. I know it's a business and you have to be professional, but that would just be heartbreaking, I imagine. I've also saw where the running back is still being talked about, Bijan Robinson. I mean, he's still being talked about at that number 8 pick. People are saying, hey, we drafted Kyle Pitts that first year. We drafted Drake London last year. He was best player available. What if the best player is a running back? And he's that big back that you say.
Yeah, he is that big physical back. Now, here's the thing. I can see that happening. But as bad as the Philadelphia Eagles need a running back, I can see if Robinson falls if he's sitting there at number 8, I can see a lot of phone calls being made to the Falcons about that pick, and we can get some quality picks for number 8.
I agree. Yeah,
we will see. That number 8 pick is one of those ones that it's sitting there where anybody can fall to number 8. One of the top 10 guys, one of the top 15 guys in this draft can sit there at number 8, and you can get a whole lot of phone calls if your guy is not there. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
If the guy you want is going, if both of them are going, and you have that 8th pick, you're gonna get a whole lot of phone calls.
And I would field them too.
If Robinson and a quarterback is sitting there, yeah, you're gonna get a whole lot of phone calls. Here's the thing. I think the Falcons has over the last 2 years, we were talking about this roster being one of the worst rosters in the NFL, and a lot of guys that was under 1 year deals.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to build a roster that's competitive and with some continuity, and they're feeling good about where they are and where they're about to go. And I truly feel that the number 8 pick, it can be a very sexy, splashy pick, or one where you scratching your head and saying, that doesn't go together. Like a quarterback, that doesn't go together. Like a running back, that messes up the whole. You have a big 3 or 4 offensively. You got Algier, Ritter, Drake London, and Pitts. You got a big 4 already. So why would you mess up that mix? And now you got to find, okay, I got to get carries for Robinson. I got to Patterson. So, there's so many things that's sitting there in your face. If you draft a running back, somebody has to go.
Well, what if? And I've seen on some of these projections where I was doing that Keon White was falling back to the early second round.
Yeah.
So what if they can still get him early second round?
You know what? The first one I did, it went Nolan Smith, first round, Keon White in the second round. That's the first one I did. I said, wow, that could be interesting. That could be
crazy,
really
wouldn't it?
That would be crazy. Now it's a win-win situation for everybody. That could happen. Honestly, that could really, really happen. But back to your point, anything can happen in this draft. We don't know. That's why they have mock drafts. That's why we're not invited into the war room and sitting there and making these decisions whatsoever. We're guessing.
Right.
We're guessing because we're fans and we think we're GMs and we can plug in, know what we know. I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything, but what I'll try to see is what's the best fit that will help this team to continue to grow over the next few years.
A couple of the Falcon writers actually write for the Falcons on their website. They did a couple mock drafts, and I was just curious to see, since they do write for the Falcons, the first round pick for one of the writers, he chose Devin Williams. Scott Blair chose Devin Williams, cornerback from Illinois. And then you have Torrey, who took Lucas Van Ness from Iowa in the first round. And actually, she made like a trade and went back to 11. But neither one of those people were I've seen on anybody's board, so to speak, recently with the Falcons. And that cornerback pick, that one there, I think would be slightly of a head scratcher. I feel like with people, if you draft that at 8.
Yeah, I think they would go defensively at number 8, but I don't think it'll be a cornerback. I think that room is pretty much set. They will draft a corner, but not that high.
So I was gonna say, speaking of a crowded room, we got a lot of defensive tackles now. If Jalen Carter is there at 8, do you take him?
Yes.
Okay.
If he's sitting there at 8, you take him. You don't trade for him. You don't take no phone calls. You draft him at number 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Point blank. If he's there at number 8, you have to draft him.
All right. Yeah.
Then that means if he's there at 8, Nolan Smith might be there in the second round. Keon White might be in the second round.
Oh yeah, that'll be nasty.
And then it's a win-win for us right there. But I think for the first time in a long time, even the Falcons organization, along with its fans, is excited about the draft.
Yes.
I think this is the first time I've seen in years that they've been very, very excited about a draft. And that says a lot about the direction they're going in. And, we've been critical. Funny story I told. So I'm talking to Arthur Smith. Hey, here's the thing. We go on, a lot of people does podcasts and do all these shows and they talk about players, they talk about coaches, they talk about all these things. They talk about each other. He's dumb. Why did he say that? That's stupid. That's a scratcher. All this stuff. He doesn't know. We always say what going, behind the screen.
Yeah.
We're very brave about talking about people and talking about things.
Right.
So after my conversation with towards the end with Arthur Smith, I put my hands on his shoulder and I said at one time I thought, I don't know what y'all doing. And I said, and I've said it publicly, and I said, but what I've seen so far, you had a plan. I says, congratulations and good luck to you. I'm pulling for you. That's what I said.
That's real. Yeah.
That's real. If you're gonna talk about if you're gonna talk about somebody, tell it to them in their face.
Exactly.
Don't act like see. I didn't say nothing. I didn't mean it that way. No. Say what you mean.
Yeah.
Tell it. What are you gonna do? All they can say to me is get out my face, and I just go sit at my table, eat my little dinner, and go home. But
no, you're a real man. I mean, I wouldn't expect nothing less, though, T.
Yeah, but here it is. I truly think that the Falcons, they're not going to make a mistake at 8. Mm-hmm. The guy they want is sitting there, and we're going to be. I truly believe we'll be happy with number 8 pick.
Well, since that might be so, let me throw another little kink. So the second round, we got all these gems. So what if you have Zay Flowers sitting there in the second round, or Jahmyr Gibbs, running back from Bama? You got Zay Flowers, the receiver from Boston College, or Jahmyr. I think
I wouldn't take a receiver that high yet.
Okay.
If Jahmyr Gibbs sitting there, baby, I'm drafting him. I am drafting him. That is a home run hitter whenever he's up at the plate. He gets his hand, punt return, kick return, wide receiver, running back, whatever. Yeah. That's your baby Cordero Patterson right there. Mm-hmm. Cordell gonna put his arms around him and teach him everything that he knows, and that kid will be dynamite for any team. But he'll be very explosive with the Atlanta Falcons. And if he's sitting there, gotta get him. God, dog it. And I'm doing all these, I'm like doing my drafts, and I said, he ain't gonna be there when I want to pick him at 2 or 3. He's not gonna be there. He's not gonna be there.
Yeah, it'll be tough. Only a couple times of my projections that I see him pop up.
Yeah.
So I took him. It was actually when I had Nolan Smith, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
And then I was able to get McClendon. I drafted a tackle in the 3rd.
Right. But here's the thing about this draft, which is interesting, and I haven't seen this in years. The wide receiver class is not as deep as it's usually been. Well, you got the guy out of Ohio State, probably the cream of the crop. Mm-hmm. But Marvin Harrison Jr. next year, everybody gonna be
he'll be top 5.
Everybody gonna be trying to get him. Everybody gonna be trying to get him. Ooh, but we won't get him because we're gonna be picking in the lower tier.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be a playoff team.
We're gonna be a playoff team. So
right on.
We don't even worry about next. Look, don't even talk about next year. This year haven't even been played yet.
Right.
Let's go ahead and finish this off Thursday night, and then let's see what shakes out. Because still there's going to be some moves made before June 1st.
And another thing I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised, fans, if they trade that 8, because when I was doing the mocks, like you said, it's a hot pick, especially if a QB falls there. Atlanta doesn't need one.
Right.
Their phone is going to be ringing off the hook. They're going to have multiple offers for that number 8, and they could probably swap a pick and then maybe garner another first round in like 2024.
Right. Here's I was just, as you were saying, because when you look at some of the things and they say what the Falcons need, and one of them is quarterback. And I keep looking and I'm going, did Desmond Ridder take his team to the Final Four of the college playoffs? Mm-hmm. Did he not? Did he not put a scare into the Bulldogs the year before? Did he not do that? Did this kid has won more games at quarterback at the University of Cincinnati than any other quarterback? This quarterback broke numerous of school and conference records. What? He didn't go to the ACC. Oh, I'm sorry. He didn't go to a Power Five school, so he's not a good quarterback. We don't see him every Saturday night on TV, so he's not a good quarterback. He needed to go to a SEC school or ACC school for him to be qualified as a good quarterback.
Right.
Come on, man. Really? Get a kid a chance. Because what you're saying is these other quarterbacks, just because they play at a Power Five at a high level, is going to come in here and light it up.
We know that's not true.
We know that is not true. Come on, guys. We know that is not true. So I'm look, I think right now, you can't go wrong at number 8. Even if somebody slides down, you got a chance to move down and grab another number 1 pick. You probably get a number 1 for this year and 2 for next year.
Right.
If you trade down for that number 8. So Falcons, I truly think I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. I usually just watch the first round and then I just turn it off after that. Yeah.
Oh, so that's it. You're gonna watch Friday night in the second round, or
I always look at the ticker tape to see what's going on.
yeah. I know the weekends is tough for me
Yeah.
personally. When it gets to the other round, it's hard for me to with family time. But I try to. I'm definitely going to see the first round and hopefully the second, because
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised the Falcons end up with 2 second round picks.
Yeah.
What you got for us to end today's show?
Very quickly, this is what I'm gonna end it with. I'm gonna end it with, do we know our purpose here on earth? There's a verse, there's in the Lord's prayer says, "Thy will be done as it is in heaven, or on earth as it is in heaven." So what he's saying, kingdom be done, it means that we are kingdom carriers. So when we're walking with God, we carrying everything that he has given us to be successful, to be strong, to be wise, to have discernment, all these things. So what that means is if we're connected with God and we have a relationship with God, that's who we are. Mm-hmm. We're not defined by how much money we make, the biggest car, the biggest house, the job, the title, whatsoever. That's not who you define by. We try to use that as our purpose is, or I can be a chameleon. I can get into this environment and fit in. I can be in this environment and fit in, or I can be in this environment. God didn't make us to be chameleons. He made us to be kingdom carriers. So what you get from me, wherever I go, this is who you're going to get. Right. At home, I'm Terrence. Right. At the grocery store, I'm Terrence. Mm-hmm. On this show, I'm Terrence. At church, I'm Terrence. On the football field, I'm Terrence. When I'm coaching, I'm Terrence. When I'm around my friends, if you don't like it, that's on you. But I'm not going to change what God has made me and given me for anyone. All right. So your purpose is not your job title and how much money you make whatsoever. Yeah, that's important. God will give you that if you, as I said before, if you have a relationship with him, he's going to give you the desires of your heart, as long as you continue to carry his kingdom, which is his message around the world, as he said to his disciples. Hey, go teach my word to all the nations. He didn't say this nation. He said all the nations. Right. All the nations. And that's what we should do wherever we go. Everywhere we go, they should know that there's something different about him or her, and it's godly. There we go.
Thank you as always.
Amen.
Everybody, tell us in the comments who you think the Falcons should draft and if you like Terrence's selection. I hope everyone has a great day.